Sometimes people who you have mutual respect with don't know when they're hurting you. And particularly when you're focused on something important to you, it may be very sensitizing in that when someone close to you has something to say about it, uh, even if it's something that clearly is not meant to be taken seriously, even if that person very much would not understand the nature of what it is that you're trying to do, whether this is you getting your education, you trying to get into something that you have never done before, but you feel like it's your calling, a skill that that person doesn't understand, even if they think they do, but you know that they don't because they don't really have experience in that thing. It's not an elitist issue here. It's really the issue of you presenting something, you trying to be open with what it is that you're passionate about, and then people close to you don't show the level of respect that you would show them. And I would say that this is honestly an example of what I like to call the rule of dichotomies on Earth. People like to say like attracts like. That may be true in some cases, but I think another thing that, or a concept that if we understood it or expected it, would be a better way of putting it, it would make life a lot more, it would make life make a little more sense. So what I mean by this is when you are immersed on your path and you're immersed on your within your passions and you're putting maximal effort into that, even if you feel like you're not, that's probably perfectionism. You probably are, and you're probably just taking some time for yourself. So, maximal effort comes along with taking care of yourself too. You can't work on anything for 12 hours a day or more. That's unhealthy. But you have to unfortunately expect these strange conflicts to almost come out of nowhere. And they may not even be conflicts in the way that you think of conflicts. They may not be arguments, but they may just be small comments that you fixate on and you think, why would that person say that if they know that I care about this so much? I'm not one for shifting accountability off of people and saying, oh, that's just this. That's just, what happens in life. No, I mean, individuals have accountability for everything that they say and the way that they make you feel. So it's important that you are open with your communication if you care about that person and it does bother you what it is that they say. But at the same time, if you are stepping outside of what your family has always done, your bloodline has always done, which is following not necessarily their passion, but what they feel is expected of them. If you step out of that, if it's within your friend group, you're stepping out of what your friend group would normally do. The rule of dichotomies will show you that there will be some sort of contention, some sort of, oh, well, you're just doing this and you're just, it's going to be different for everybody. So anything that I say isn't really going to be universal. So you know what I'm saying, though. It's going to come out in the form of, judgment or passive aggression. So, the god Apollo had the power to absolve people from their mistakes, but he also had the power to destroy. And so when it comes to being a human on earth, we should not destroy in a material sense, but to destroy preconceived notions and judgments within our mind. There's a meditative practice called cord cutting. It can be done spiritually. It can be done through, in the context of post-traumatic stress, cutting the cord with your emotional ties to this, because I'm a believer in cutting people off who are toxic, but not everybody. Sometimes you have people who are not toxic who will say things to you that will hurt you. And even if you talk to them about it, they may laugh and not even think that it's a big deal because they didn't mean to hurt you like that. And they think that it's implied that you should know that they didn't mean to hurt you, but it still does. It still bothers you. Maybe it didn't hurt you, but it bothers you and it disturbs you and it pisses you off. And you have the right to feel that way. So I have to, I'm working on becoming more mindful of this, where I know that I'm not in control of someone else's thoughts, but I am in control of how much I let it get to me. And so when you get into a meditative practice, this is not, getting an app and counting your breaths. I want to dispel that, because meditation is supposed to be entering the liminal space of your mind. It is supposed to be, breathing, but you're gonna breathe anyways. You don't really have to tell yourself. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but you don't really have to count your breaths. Now, 4x4 breathing is effective if you're having panic attacks, but so is running. That's how I got rid of my panic attacks. And I quit sugar. But anyways, another story for another day. I found when I was, I think freshman year of high school, when you lay down, completely dark room, and laying down flat is actually one of the, when you look at yoga, that is intended for the chakra system, ancient practice. So for the crown chakra, there's 3 poses for every chakra, so 21 total. You lie down flat. That is one of the poses. Arms by your side. So, you don't have to get into the lotus position to meditate. You can just be laying in bed at night. When you are just breathing, you, you focus all of your energy right here. And eventually, after a period of time, I'm not going to specify a period of time, you may or may not, if you don't, doesn't mean you're doing it wrong, but you may hear an actual vibration occurring. You may feel a lot of pressure in your head. What you want to do is you want to try to move this up to the center of the top of your head. Now, the first and foremost, thing that you want to focus on is getting all of that energy right here. No phone, no laptop in your room. Eventually, you're going to find it increasingly more easy to visualize. And this is your parasympathetic nervous system activating. This is your melatonin releasing in your brain. Your serotonin starts to convert to melatonin. And you're going to visualize that seed. You can visualize it as a seed that you are destroying out of the earth, or you can visualize it as an actual cord being cut. Now, this doesn't mean you're cutting ties with but the cord or the seed represent your emotional ties, your emotional investment into the opinions of these people, external opinions. And this is actually incredibly effective. You can do this with anything. If there's something from the past that still bothers you that shouldn't bother you, this can absolutely be applied. And I can tell you this is and then an offset of this is this is optional. It may, not be right for everybody, but it may be very effective for some people. It's effective for me personally. You have a conversation with that person in your mind of what you want to be said. And I recommend having the conversation if you feel like it's relevant, if you feel like the person's going to hear you out, if it is something that happened recently. But if it's something that's deeply personal to you that you feel like you don't really want to have that conversation for whatever reason, and you don't really feel like it would be beneficial in any way, then I would have the conversation telepathically in your mind when you are in this meditative practice, in this meditative state. You have the conversation explaining to them everything that, all the aspects of what it is that they said or what it is that happened, whatever it is, and why it bothers you. And then you're going to go even deeper into your subconscious, and this takes a degree of self-awareness, of course, and disregarding your ego a little bit. The ego is not bad. It's just, it can hold us back from seeing our own blind spots and our own, the root of our own pain. So that's why in meditation they want you to disregard the ego. But the ego is a good thing. It protects you. So it's not like you want to let it die forever. But you want to identify the potential root cause of this from your past, and visualize yourself, have a conversation with that person in your mind about that event and explaining it to them. And, I'm a very, it's, let's just say it's incredibly difficult. I think they call it alexithymia or something. I'm pretty much unable to explain how I feel to someone. If I'm put on the spot, I may be able to do it, but that's only if I very much trust somebody. But I'm very much like terrified and confused, and my mind draws a blank when you ask me how I feel about something. And if something is bothering me, I kind of just, it's not good. So if that's you, if, confronting that with somebody, or if you know that if you do confront it, it's just going to be laughed off, or just, oh, I didn't mean it like that, or, whatever, just written off, then you want to do something like this, because when you wake up every day, it's a waste of time to have that buzzing around in your head like a fly around a carcass. It's just not fair, and it's not worth your time. It's gonna just distract you. And so I'm planning on doing this tonight, actually, because there's something that's bothering me, and it's so insignificant, and it's, from, again, somebody who doesn't really understand what it is that I'm trying to do. And despite me having opened up and explained it, it's still not still subject to judgment, apparently. So it's funny how people turn good intentions into a point of contention. Cut the cord, uproot the seed, watch it explode. They say visualize it going into the sun and being incinerated by the sun. And then I read something else that said that's not good because the sun is still a part of the earth, so if you throw it into the sun, it's still there. Okay. So I like the cord cutting one the best. I think that's pretty effective. And you have to prioritize your own path, your own soul's path above all else. If you have people around you who are trying to distract you, it is of the utmost importance to learn to say no and put a boundary and a separation up between you and those people who are not on their path. Like when you're really honest with yourself, and this isn't to judge anybody. We all have reasons for what we do or what we don't do. But if you do know your purpose and you're following it, and then you look at the people who may be causing conflict, whether intentionally or unintentionally, in your life, 9 times out of 10, these people who judge yours, it's because they haven't found theirs. Or maybe they found it, but they just keep denying it and just not even following it. Even if they try to make it your problem, it's still not. So you want to get to that point where you are living out every single day like a dance, and you are balancing all of your responsibilities and your goals like a dance, and nothing's holding you back. Have a beautiful, what is it, Monday? Hell yeah. Or whenever you're watching this. And kill it. When I say kill it, I mean your passion. But I also mean whatever irritates and sets you back. Kill it. But not actually. Kill it within your consciousness, so that your soul can thrive.